Your time is 2 p.m. You're watching the Monday edition of Market View right here on Eswatini TV. Glad to be your host this Luthango holiday. I do hope that you're having yourself a lovely one. For us here, it's business as usual, and local businesses are being encouraged rather to take advantage of new opportunities to expand their market reach through the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority. From being profiled in the upcoming Traders Directorate to applying to exhibit at the Taipei International Food Show happening media, these initiatives aim to connect Eswatini's entrepreneurs with broader regional and international markets. We'll learn more about these opportunities from the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority's Tandega Dlamini. But first, let's have a look at some of our business stories. In our business stories, we begin with this. The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade says it has taken note of concerns raised by the small business sector during the post-budget seminar. During the discussions, the Chief Executive Officer of SETCO, Ketwe Mhlanga, emphasized the need for factory shells to support small and medium enterprises when they are starting their operations. She explained that access to factory shells would provide affordable workspace and basic infrastructure, allowing businesses to operate more efficiently, reduce startup costs, and focus on production, innovation, and job creation. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, says the development of factory shells for small businesses is already in the pipeline as part of government's efforts to strengthen local enterprises and boost economic growth.
The ministry, through two of its parastatals, SETCO and Eswasa, initiated a program in 2025 called Ingelo Certification Scheme. This particular program is aimed at achieving two things. We want the MSME to work in a decent factory space that meets, quality standards for both local consumption and export. But we also want the same MSME to be certified according to, food safety and food standards and quality standards and environmental standards that Eswasa then covers. So there is a collaboration then between SETCO and Eswasa that, allows qualifying MSMEs who are seen to be accessing bigger markets as they grow to, through a selection process, be shortlisted and then ultimately be awarded, this particular scheme where we build a small factory for them. We call it a cottage factory. Where they already have a working space, we then, upgrade the working space to meet the safety, food safety and quality standards that are required. We are very happy about this program. In the year past, 20 MSMEs qualified for this, and they're currently undergoing that particular assistance by both parastatals, SETCO and Eswasa. And we're hoping to continue this particular program. We have not been fortunate to get a budget allocation this coming financial year for this program, but we are working very hard to look at alternative sources of funds to keep the program going because it is extremely popular with MSMEs.
A week ago, the Eswatini Revenue Service announced that it will effect the Tax Compliance Certificate Regulations gazetted in 2022, which identified 13 specific transaction points where compliance must be confirmed through a Tax Compliance Certificate, TCC, including tendering for goods or services exceeding 20,000 emalangeni. The business community has raised concerns about this requirement, saying 20,000 emalangeni is too small an amount to require a tax clearance certificate and fearing it could disadvantage small and informal businesses when supplying larger companies. However, the Commissioner General, Brightwell Nkambule, says the informal sector will not be affected by this requirement and explains how businesses will be impacted by this transaction point.
With the TCC on procurement, we would like to make it very clear that we are focusing on those with tax obligations, with outstanding tax obligations. We are saying those with outstanding tax obligations must come to the ERS, regularize their tax positions. After that, they will then qualify to get a TCC. Otherwise, your typical individual that would be doing ad hoc selling, and that is possibly not even registered anywhere or not registered for tax, is not part of the population that we are looking at enforcing here. Small businesses, individuals who do ad hoc sales are not part of the list that is required to have the TCC. The list that we are targeting here, we are saying those that are in databases of their clients must be compliant, and those that have outstanding obligations must regularize their obligations so that they can align with this requirement. We would like to assure the public that we intend to simplify this even further by shifting the burden away from them, shifting the burden to ourselves. So we will be the ones that will be working with the companies, with suppliers, databases, to flag those that are not compliant, then approach them to help them to comply. Over-the-counter transactions are excluded. Over-the-counter transactions meaning where you walk into a shop, right, to make your purchases, that is excluded. Also, transactions that we at times make with international service providers like your Microsoft licenses, that is excluded for the simple reason that companies that are outside the kingdom do not have obligations to comply with Eswatini laws.
And that is your business brief. We'll speak to the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority right after this.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back. And moving on to this, local traders are being invited to take part in initiatives aimed at boosting their visibility and connecting them to broader markets through the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority, APA. Now, the Traders Directory is expected to profile local businesses and provide a platform for entrepreneurs to promote their products and services while building stronger business linkages. At the same time, APA has opened applications for export-ready food and beverage businesses in Eswatini to exhibit at the Taipei International Food Show in Taipei, or rather Food Taipei 2026, taking place in June. To explain what these initiatives mean for local businesses, we're joined by Thandeka Dlamini, IPA's Manager, External Trade Promotion. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Given your analysis as the authority of Eswatini's business ecosystem, what problem does the Traders Directory aim to solve for our local traders?
Thank you, Notile. Good afternoon to the viewers. So we are currently developing the Traders Directory together with the support from the European Union and International Trade Center. So the biggest problem that this Traders Directory aims to solve is visibility, international visibility for our traders. What we find is that there are a lot of businesses that are ready to export. They are ready to be to introduce their products out there, but there is not one platform where we can see all of them and what their product offerings are. So this then limits our trade promotion in efforts, essentially. So you find that we are not able to comprehensively represent the country in terms of what it has to offer in terms of traders, sectors, and the products that they have. So what it does is that it brings together all this information so that we are aware of who is in the country, what products they are producing, and then we can link them as well as their contact information. So then it becomes easier to link them to the international market, where we do a number of trade promotion efforts through different avenues, including our embassies, including buyers who then come to us to ask information on what products we have. So ultimately, the goal of this Traders Directory is to bring back everybody that we don't know exists and those that we know exist, but also to gather their contact information so that we can swiftly connect them to the international markets and they gain their visibility. Thank you.
Besides information sharing, Thandeka, and just having local businesses being listed on the directory, how will the listing help our local businesses access regional and international markets, both businesses big and small?
Yes, so being listed in this directory essentially gives you the credibility, right? Because it comes from a perspective of a national traders directory. So it gives a business credibility to beyond Eswatini's borders to say, I am here, I'm in Eswatini, I am operating, and these are the products that I have. So being profiled in it, it makes it easier for regional buyers, for distributors and potential partners out there to see you. What will happen is that the directory will not just be a physical copy of a directory. So we will make it digital as well, so that people out there can be able to easily find you on the internet and find your contact information. That way you can establish your partnerships. It is essentially a gateway for particularly for smaller businesses to actually introduce themselves out there. It acts as a gateway to the regional and international markets.
Opportunities as such often come with requirements. Businesses, both big and small, have to meet standards so that they can be able to exhibit internationally. But then one wonders, are there specific requirements for businesses to be able to get listed on the directory?
Okay, so the Traders Directory is designed to be inclusive of all traders in the kingdom that are operating in the kingdom of Eswatini, that are producing goods and are ready to export, or rather they occasionally do export their products. So during the listing process, we collect information such as it's basic information such as what your business is called, what products do you actually produce, and the contact details and where you are found in Eswatini. So it's basic details. So it's aimed to just cover a wide range of traders in the kingdom, from smaller businesses to well-established bigger enterprises in the different sectors. So it will cover all the sectors that actually do occasionally export. So that's who we want to include in the directory. Thank you.
So Ngozi, if I'm getting you correctly, are you saying that there's no specific sectors or businesses that the authority is looking to include in the directory, but everybody is welcome?
Yes, indeed, as long as you are a trader that is located in the Kingdom of Eswatini. So what we are looking at is all sectors that export. It may be agriculture, manufacturing, distribution, anybody who's involved in exporting, essentially. Everybody who's involved in exporting and in the Kingdom of Eswatini, that's who we are looking to promote through this Traders Directory.
Fair enough. As we wrap up the conversation on Traders Directory, allow me to ask, what steps then should interested traders take to be considered for inclusion?
Thank you, Notile. So traders simply have to send an email to poriem@gmail.com, who is the consultant who is actually currently on the ground collecting this information. The email is porriem@gmail.com. So traders can reach out to her, or they can also reach out to the APA offices through our social media, through physically or even via phone call. So they can reach out. We are collecting the data already. The consultant is on the ground. The data will be collected between now and May. So interested businesses are encouraged to come forward so that they can be included in this comprehensive Eswatini National Traders Directory.
Fair enough, Thandeka. I appreciate the authorities' efforts to ensure that local products are really placed on the global map. In the same vein, we understand that IPA has invited Eswatini food and beverage producers to exhibit at the Taipei International Food Show in Taiwan. Can you tell us a bit more about this opportunity and what it means for local businesses?
Yes, indeed. Together working with the Taiwan External Trade Development Council, again this year we will be participating in Food Taipei, which is an international food show that is held in Taiwan in June. So this is a very important opportunity for Eswatini's food and beverage producers. It is an opportunity to actually go and showcase your products as Eswatini business. This is an opportunity to enter the Asian market, particularly because at the Taiwan Food Show, there are a lot of other visitors around, especially around Asia, that visit. But the biggest one being, of course, that you get to introduce your product to the Taiwanese market, with whom the Kingdom of Eswatini has the Economic Cooperation Agreement, which allows a total of 199 products to enter the Taiwanese market at reduced customs duties or tariff rates, so to speak. So this then gives a competitive advantage in terms of pricing for Eswatini products. And most of the products that are in those 199, in that 199 list, are those products that are mainly in the agro-processed sector. So this is an opportunity basically to also take advantage of that that agreement by introducing your product and also finding potential buyers that you can then sell to when you come back home. So this is a very, very important opportunity to expose your products to the Asian market and ultimately find buyers and send your products and start exporting rather.
Looking at Food Taipei 2026, what does it mean to be export ready in that regard? And also, what kind of food and beverage businesses are you looking for?
Okay, thank you, Notile. To be export ready, we mean that a business is at a level where it has the capacity to actually supply international markets. Essentially, this includes the quality of your products. It includes standards that you've acquired for your product, or you are in the process of acquiring those standards. It includes you having a product that is of international quality level, of which in Eswatini we have a number of products that are actually ready to be exported. So that's what we mean. We're primarily looking for businesses that are involved in processed foods, for instance, beverages. We're looking for specialty products like your agro-processed products such as the sauces that are juices, all of that. So all those agro-processed goods. We're looking for even baking, if you have some baking ingredients, anything that is within the food and drink. Drinks, it can be soft drinks, it can go as far as alcoholic drinks. So we're looking for all businesses in that that are in that sector. Thank you.
My last one, Taniga, briefly, how can interested businesses apply, and when is the deadline for submitting applications? Because from all that you said, the opportunity awaits.
Yes, indeed. The deadline for submitting applications is the 23rd of March. And businesses can apply by visiting our social media pages. For APA, there is a link. So you apply online. It's a very swift application process. It won't take more than 5-10 minutes of your time. So you apply via a link. You can also visit our website. There is also a link there to the application form. Thank you, Natil.
Thank you very much, Tandega. In the interest of time, we'll leave it here. That was Tandega Dlamini, Manager External Trade Promotion at the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority. We're discussing the upcoming Traders Directory and the opportunities that await for local producers to exhibit at Food Taipei 2026. The show continues after this.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Welcome back. You're still watching Market View. Now, we want to discuss the impact of the war in Iran. We've seen oil prices hitting above $100 per barrel, but now we want to just have an understanding of how that could affect you specifically in terms of oil prices in the country. And we're joined by in-house economist Sanele Sibia. Mr. Spear, thank you so much for joining us. We've seen the instability in the Middle East causing disruptions to global energy supply chains. We've also seen the total closure of the Strait of Hormuz. How do you think these disruptions, or the prices in global oil are likely to filter into domestic fuel prices?
Thank you, Notile. Good afternoon to you, and also a good afternoon to the viewers. So what we've noted in the past 13, 14 days ever since this war started, we've seen the price of Brent crude oil, the global standard, penduluming between the 100 mark and the lower end of, say, 80 to 90 on average. So that you would look at it and juxtapose it to where before the war started and when we started seeing the price of Brent of oil, pump prices in Eswatini being cut. So right now what you're looking at is an average of above $10 for the past 14 days. And if this war continues, we are going to see that happening going forward into April. And then that's where we're most likely going to see a downward an upward push in the price of oil and petrol at the pump, probably back to the levels that they were before the war started, just basically as a cost recovery type of strategy. But in countries where we have the forces of demand and supply working simultaneously, we've already seen Europe, decrying pump prices, and we've seen, countries like Indonesia, we've seen South Korea already dealing with these very high prices of oil. So as here, we've not seen that yet, purely because of the way we are regulating the market, but we do expect that upward adjustment as a cost recovery strategy to come through next month. That means we are most likely going to see it. The reason I'm pointing it to next month, Notile, is because we somehow expected this was going to be a very short war, as Donald Trump said it. We expected to be a 2 weeks thing at the start, but right now when you look at the indications, what is happening there, we've seen the entire Gulf region being drawn into this. We've seen Bahrain, we've seen your UAE, Dubai airports closing, and all of those things because of the war and the strikes that are happening there. We've seen Hezbollah coming into the war, and we're just now watching what the Houthis are going to do. And then there is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Again, we do expect that one to continue, as we're seeing news coming out of Tehran that they are going to continue closing it because it is one of their strongest levers. And President Trump had promised to bring in tankers to somehow help that is the flow. But we're seeing that, Europe doesn't want to send those warships. The U.S. seems reluctant to send those warships, and most likely news coming out of the White House was it's going to take a month, so towards the end of March. So most likely we're going to have to deal with these new high prices, and it's quite a spike, that's we're talking about an average of between $10 to $20 on that increase. So we're going to see those pump prices coming up. And what we are also going to see, Notile, is something that's quite, salient there in terms of the farm inputs. Remember that quite a lot of the farm inputs have to pass through the Strait of Hormuz as well. So if that continues, we are most likely going to enter into a spiral of inflation as we start importing, increased fertilizer prices, as we start importing high fuels. And then there's also going to be the cost of importing in itself, where we are now paying higher prices. And, if you look at the and dollar exchange rate, it is also now on a downward spiral back to the 16 region, and most likely it's going to climb back to the 17 region, or the upper 15s and upper 16s, and stay there. So all of those things are going to lead us into an inflation spiral as a country.
Mrs. Bia, we are 2 weeks into the instability in the Middle East, and you do say that it touches on businesses. It also touches on domestic consumers. If tensions escalate further, just briefly, what's the worst case scenario that could unfold for countries, oil importing countries such as Eswatini? Because I understand we don't really have direct trade with Iran, but what's the worst case scenario here, and what should governments and individuals be preparing for?
So what we need to be preparing for, Notile, is that increase in pump prices and those increases in, those fertilizer inputs. And also, if this war spirals out of control, we are going to see blockades of critical supply chains, goods moving from China into the rest of the world. Remember, China is the factory basket of the world. So China right now is facing the fuel price hike, because China largely depends on fuel coming through from, the Gulf region. Same as Japan, they're facing those pressures, and same as South Korea. So now that means whatever is coming out of the factory is also going to be expensive, and by default, we're also going to be importing those expensive commodities. So Eswatini is a net importer, and unfortunately, whenever something happens in the global supply chain, we get impacted.
Fair enough. Mrs. Bia, thank you very much for that. That was in-house economist Annelies Bia just unpacking what the impact or the conflict in the Middle East could mean for the local oil economy, rather, specifically when we're looking at oil prices. This has been the Monday edition of Market View from myself and the team. Until next time, bye-bye.